Would you rather be constantly surprised or know in advance? So do you want to be always surprised by what is going to happen or know everything in advance?
I would like to be constantly surprised because it's more fun than always knowing what's going to happen.
This kid thinks just like me. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I'd also be rather surprised because then it's more interesting.
I'm very type A. So I think I would always like to know what's coming.
Okay, next question. Would you rather be the smartest in the room or the funniest in the room?
I feel like I'm both all the time, so no, I'm kidding. Just kidding. I think the funniest because, yeah.
Because, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know, because I think people don't really like a smart person that much sometimes. It's a know-it-all or something.
I don't know.
We'll give you a pass.
I would like to be the smartest, then I maybe will have good grades.
Good reason. So this is going to be your last question, so you can take a deep sigh of relief. Would you rather be known for always being honest or always being kind? Always honest or always kind?
You have to be one or the other.
One or the other, you can't be both. Or it's what you're known as. You can be, but what you're known as. What do people say about you? Kind or honest?
None of them. No, I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah.
I think if you're kind, you're automatically also honest. And if you're honest, you're kind.
Ooh.
That's a good answer. I'm going to go with Yara. I think I'm with her, though. I would rather be known as kind, I think. And then I'll also be honest, but.
Okay. Everybody give him a hand. Thank you very much for your willingness to be put on the spot. Basically, if you boil down questions like that, it's what do you really think? What really matters to you? And in a way, it's like saying, what do you love more? Do you love your appearance more? Or the effect you have on people? Do you love your friends more or your family? Do you love being in control? I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. Do you like to be in control? Or would you rather let things happen, let life happen? Would you rather be wise or be liked? Would you rather, or would you love rather, or do you love more having fun or the satisfaction of doing a job that needs to be done? Questions cause us to think. Even when it's all in fun, we still have to think, why do we believe what we believe? Why do we value what we value? Why do we hold on to things? Why do we love certain things? Questions make us think about what's really inside both our heart and our mind. Jesus used that. Jesus asked questions. He asked questions of the Pharisees. He asked questions of his disciples. Jesus asked questions because for him, it wasn't about what you looked like. It wasn't about your behavior. It wasn't about how you were perceived. It's what's inside. What's really inside. So Jesus asked questions. Well, let's set up the story here. Jesus has been resurrected. Easter has come. We've had our Easter eggs. We've watched the little bunny come and go. Easter has come. Life has come. Hope has returned. Jesus is risen. But the disciples don't know what that means. This is not what they counted on. This is not what they imagined, and they don't know what to think. And at the point of the story I'm going to tell you today, they've seen Jesus twice. And he comes and he goes. Is this it? Is this what's going to happen forever? Jesus is going to just show up and then leave? Or is this it? They'll never see Jesus again. And they're going to have to figure out life. What do they do now? For 3 years, they've been following the man they thought was going to set them free, that they thought was going to usher in God's kingdom on earth. For 3 years, that's all they've known. They gave up everything for that great vision. Now what? Jesus isn't dead, but what does that mean? Where do they go from here? What do they do? So Peter gets a bright idea. If you don't know what's in front of you, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go fishing. I know fishing. I have control on the sea. The sea is my kingdom. It's my place. It's what I know. It's where I'm comfortable. It's where I don't have to think. I don't have to think about who I am. I don't have to think about what I've done. I don't have to think what's coming next. All I have to do, throw the nets down, wait, pull them up. Throw the nets down, wait, pull them up. It's a rhythm of life. I can handle this. So Peter talks some other disciples into going with him because Peter always likes a crowd. And they go out and they're going to go fishing. And then it's deja vu. They throw the nets down and they wait. They pull them up, nothing. They do it again. Pull them up, nothing. And again, but nothing happens. Zip, nada, zilch, no fish. The one thing Peter knows what to do, and it's not even working. His life is out of control. Nothing is making sense to Peter. Nothing at all. So they notice somebody's on the shore. They've got a witness. And the voice calls out to them, put your net in again. They do, and we know what happens. The net is full. The net is so full of fish that actually the net should not even have been able to hold those fish, but yet it does. And they know that it's Jesus. John recognizes Jesus. Peter rushes out to meet Jesus. Jesus is back for the third time. And Jesus isn't just standing placidly on the shore watching them going, yeah, you fools, look at you. You think you got this? Not Jesus. He's made of fire. He knows that they're going to have fish. He knows, and he's ready for them. And our Jesus, who has been a servant all along, is ready to give them breakfast. He's ready to give them sustenance. He's ready to take care of them, to love them, to be in fellowship with them. Jesus is there, and they have breakfast together. And Peter's thinking, this is okay. Back to the fellowship. I like this. And it's all going great until Jesus sits down next to him. Jesus wants to have a tete-a-tete, a heart-to-heart with Peter. And Peter knows this is an uh-oh moment. Peter doesn't want this moment to happen, I am sure. He had betrayed Jesus. He'd walked away from Jesus. He doesn't want this moment. But you know what I love about God? Our God is the hound of heaven. He doesn't ever give up on us. No matter how far we run away, no matter how much we want to avoid the confrontation of our soul, God will not give up on us. And so now we have the rest of the story.
When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Yes, Lord, he said. You know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my lambs. Again, Jesus said, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He answered, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Jesus said, take care of my sheep. The third time he said to him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time, do you love me? He said, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my sheep.
Thank you, Mary. Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? And Peter has to look in his heart. Do you love me more than these? He can't get away from Jesus' gaze. Jesus is staring at him with love in his heart, love in his eyes. It's not a reproachful look, but it's a look that pierces his soul. Jesus says to him, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? And Simon looks around. More than these what? It's another one of Jesus' open-ended questions. More than these. These what? So he looks around and he sees the other disciples that are sitting there munching on the leftover bread and the fish. And it's like, okay, do I love Jesus more than I love hanging out with these guys? Do I love Jesus more than I love friends? Do I love Jesus more than I love family? Do I love Jesus more than being liked? Do I love Jesus more than what people think of me? Do I love Jesus more than I care about how many followers I have on Instagram? Do I love Jesus more than what my boss thinks of me? Do I care more about what Jesus thinks than I care about what others think? Do I love you, Jesus, more than I love my own children? Do I love you, Jesus, more than I love the spouse that you've given me? Do I love Jesus more? Years ago, when Mark and I were first married, and this year it will be 40 years. So we're talking 40 years ago, almost ancient history, before most of you were born, or at least went to school. I was newly married. We were living in South Africa. He was involved in coursework in the army, and I was staying with my aunt and uncle who were missionaries. They were wonderful missionaries. And if you ever want to know, they're the reason we're together. So if you want to know the story, just ask, but today is not the day. So I'm staying with my aunt and uncle. They are missionaries and they work with the colored people in South Africa, and they go into the township every Sunday to have church. And they have Bible studies. And I go with my aunt and uncle everywhere. Now, Mark is doing coursework in a town not too far away, so he comes on the weekends when I'm with my aunt and uncle, and he stays with us. First Sunday, he goes to church with us. The second Sunday, he refuses. The third Sunday, he refuses again. I cry, I plead, I beg, but he won't go. What must my aunt and uncle, the missionaries, think? What do they think of me? What do they think of my husband? He won't go to church with me, and I don't know why. He won't tell me. Is he prejudiced? Is he lazy? What is it? I have since to come out, find out why. He was running away from a call. But why wouldn't he go with me? I look awful that my husband doesn't go with me. One week, I went with my aunt for a ladies' Bible study with one of the ladies in the church. She lived on a farm, and by saying she lived on a farm, she lived in the middle of a field in a tin shack, a one-room tin shack. In the shack was a twin bed, a small table with one burner on it, and that's it. She had some pegs that she hung clothes on, and she had used wrapping paper and newspaper comics to paper the inside walls. We had Bible study there. She was so gracious, so warm. She made us tea. She had biscuits for us. My aunt's chosen subject was on Philippians 4, where Paul talks about everything he's done that's so wonderful, who he is, his background, his academics, his career, everything he's done, and he says, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Nothing in comparison to knowing Jesus. As a matter of fact, it's not just nothing. I count it as rubbish. That's if you read the New American Standard or the NIV Standard. She read the King James Version. The King James Version calls it dung. If you don't know what dung is, it's poop. I count everything in my life to be poop, manure, in comparison with knowing Jesus. I've been walking these fields. I know what manure smells like. It's not nice. Manure. And it hit me. Would I consider my husband that I love more than life itself, even though I'm disappointed, but I love him so much? Would I consider him manure to know Christ? Would I be willing to give him up to know Christ? We actually had a revival in that little tin shack as every woman gave up what was most important to her. The son, husband, career, country, gave it up. We cried and cried and cried. Well, I'm very glad I gave Mark up because, as you can see, God took better care of him than I was doing. But are we willing to say to God, I love you more than these that you have given me? I love you more than those I love best. So Peter thinks, okay, I said I love you. And we're not going to go into the two meanings of love. Okay, I'm done. He's going to leave me alone. God doesn't ever let us sit in a comfortable place. So he says again, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Okay, Simon thinks, okay, I obviously wasn't on the right track here. So he looks around again, looks over again at the apostles. And John, the disciple that Jesus loves. John, part of the inner three. John, the competitor for his attention from Jesus. John is glancing over at them. And Peter thinks to himself, do I love you more than these others love you? Do I love you more than John loves you? Do I? And he remembers. He remembers that he had said, I'm going to die for you. Yes, Jesus, I'll go wherever you go. I'll follow you. I'll be there. I'm your right-hand man, Jesus. You can count on me no matter what. And he goes and he slices off the ear. He's ready for battle. I think Jesus has to go and put that ear back on. Nothing I do is ever right or good enough. And then I blew it. You know what he did? He said, I don't know you, Jesus. I don't know Jesus. As Jesus is being tormented and yelled at and beaten, Peter says, I don't know you. I turn my back on you. I'm not one of you. I don't belong to you. And he glances over at John again, sitting there, and he says, but John didn't do that. I denied Jesus, and then I ran and I hid. And as I sat in the dark, afraid and terrified of what the future was going to be, John, as Chad said last week, was at the foot of the cross. At the cross, on a hill, a barren, dusty hill set high above, where everyone can see John was at the cross. It could mean John's death. The Romans were there. It could mean being ostracized forever from the Jewish people and from the culture that he had grew up in and that he loved, that he was part of. It could mean losing everything to be at the foot of the cross. But John was at the foot of the cross. John was the one that Jesus entrusted his last earthly possession, the one he loved more than anyone else, his mother. John was the one who was there. Simon, son of John, do you love me more than John loves me? Do you love me with your whole heart? Do you love me enough to live life at the foot of the cross, no matter what it costs you, no matter what you have to give up? Do you love me enough to be at my feet? Do you love me enough to be at the place of sacrifice, at the place of pain, at the place where it hurts? Do you love me enough to be uncomfortable, unsafe, scared? Do you love me enough to allow yourself to be in that place? Do you love me more than these? At this point, I am sure Peter is torn up. He knows he's a coward. He knows he's a coward. He knows he failed. He knows those disciples over there know he's a coward and that he's failed. He knows that Jesus knows. But is he willing? Is he willing? And he thinks, okay, now it's got to be done. My soul can't take much more. It's got to be done. But Jesus isn't finished with him yet. Because Jesus doesn't want part of you. He wants all of you. He wants all of you. So he says to him one more time, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Now Simon's like, but what? What is these? What? And he looks around again. This time he looks behind him. And there's the sea. And on the sea are the boats and his fishing nets. And he thinks, do I love you, Jesus, more than I love what I do? Do I love you, Jesus, more than I love what I'm good at? Do I love you, Jesus, more than my independence? Being able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. Do I love you more than that? Am I willing to give up everything that makes me me to serve you? Everything, anything. Am I willing to give it all up? Peter's a leader. Peter's outspoken. Peter likes being the upfront guy. Just read the Gospels. The guy has an answer for everything. Peter, are you willing to be in the limelight? Or out of the limelight, sorry, wrong one. Out of the limelight. Are you willing to not be the upfront person anymore? Because if you are, it means take care of my lambs, feed my sheep, be a shepherd. The shepherd's way out there. He's not here. The shepherd is by himself. He's not with the crowd. The shepherd is looking after little lambs, the vulnerable, the ones that nobody else cares about. That's where the shepherd is. The shepherd is feeding sheep. The shepherd is not the leader, not the one everybody looks to. Peter, are you willing to be nothing and nobody to do my will? Are you willing to put your dreams and your hopes and your aspirations aside to do what I ask you to do? Even if it's not your gifting, even if it's not your skills, your comfort zone, are you still willing? Are you willing to do it if you don't know how to do it? Are you willing to depend on me, just as I gave the fish to you? Are you willing to trust me to provide? Are you willing to let me be everything and you be nothing? Do you love me more than you love yourself and what you think you are? Do you trust me? Do you trust that I'm enough? That it's not about who you are. It's about what I've done for you. It's not about what you do. It's about who I am. Are you willing to live in that place? Jesus asked Peter those questions, and he asked them open-ended. They were recorded open-ended. Because what Jesus asked Peter, he asked us. Every one of us still has to answer that question. Do we love Jesus more than the good opinion of others? Do we love Jesus more than we love those that he's given us to serve? Do we love Jesus more than we love, or more than others love him? It's not a competition. It's not a game. It's not meant for you to look at each other. As a matter of fact, Jesus will reprimand Peter for looking at John and asking about him. It's not a competition. It's, are you willing to give it all and live your life at the cross? And do you love Jesus more than you love yourself? Do you love Jesus and trust him to be your strength? Do you trust him not to live into your own abilities, but wholly rest on him? The wonderful thing about the whole Easter story is that in the resurrection, the death and resurrection, God redeemed. But in these questions that he asked Peter, he restored. Our God restores. He doesn't leave us broken. He didn't just ask these questions of Peter. He then gave him a directive. Feed my sheep. Take care of my lambs. Tend my flock. Because God invites us to be part of who he is within the Trinity. He invites us into that joy of fellowship. The joy that the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit share in communion with each other. He invites us into that same thing. I talk about living at the cross, and that's what we have to do. But in the living at the cross and in giving up everything we hold near and dear, we enter into the joy of his fellowship. We are not slaves. We are his adopted children. He asks these of us because he wants us to have joy, abundant joy, overflowing joy. He wants us to have abundant life. He is not calling us into slavery, misery. He's calling us into joy. Will the joy be mixed with pain? Yes. Will the joy be mixed with sacrifice? Yes. But you can't have joy if you don't have the others. And that is what Christ is calling us into. Now, if we back up a week and we go back to the Last Supper, Jesus showed us what that joy is going to look like. He showed us what that fellowship is going to look like. So on the night he was betrayed, on the night that he knew that his beloved disciples, for 3 years, these were the guys hanging out with him, and he loved them. He loved them. And he knew they loved him, but they didn't know the depth of it yet. But they would. But on that night, as they're fighting over who's the best, who's most liked, who's most loved, who gets to sit by Jesus, who gets to be number one next to you, Jesus, of course, in the kingdom of heaven. While they're all doing that game that we like to play, Jesus says, guys, And he girds himself with a towel and he washes their feet. He shows them what restoration looks like before they even know they're going to fail. He shows them the way before they even know they're lost. He washes their feet and he shows them what servant love looks like. That's what life is like at the foot of the cross. And just as on the road to Emmaus, when Jesus broke the bread, they knew who he was. In the same way, when Jesus spoke to them, telling them, I'll provide for you. Just listen to my voice. I'll provide. You don't have to take care of yourself all the time. I'll provide. Jesus provides for us in the same way. And on that night, Jesus also broke bread and said, do this in remembrance of me. Peter, after you failed me, after you blow it, after your heart is broken, remember, I'm the one that mends it. I'm the one that puts it back together. I'm the one that's going to bring healing and restoration. Peter, in remembrance, drink the cup. And Peter, you're going to see them beat me and you're going to deny me. But you know what? That body that you saw beaten, that body that was broken for you, the memory verse, it's going to heal you. It's going to take your iniquities. You are going to be set free because of my body broken for you. And he calls all of us to that. He calls all of us, do this in remembrance of me. Remember. Remember, I love you. Remember, you could never get away from my love. It never runs out. Remember what I've called you to, a life of service, a life of taking care of each other, a life of unity, being one together. And when we take the bread and the juice, we remember that God called them when he washed their feet, when he asked Peter these questions, he called them to a life of unity. And we are part of that unity. 2,000 years later, we're part of the same unity as Peter, James, and John, and the other disciple. We're part of that same unity. And this calls us to remember we're part of that. That what Jesus asked of them, he asks of us. We are part of that. And as we take communion today, reflect in your heart, in your mind. Do you love Jesus more than these? He left it open so you could fill in the blank. But he asks us to be honest. Sometimes you can be honest and kind, but Jesus asks us always to be honest with ourselves. Be honest. Do you love Jesus more than? If not, if something comes to mind, something comes to your heart, give it to Jesus now. Put it at the foot of the cross. It's the only place for it. I don't know how many times I've had to put my children at the foot of the cross. Probably today's another day to put my children at the foot of the cross. But it's the only place they're safe. Whatever your dreams, your aspirations are, put them at the foot of the cross. Whatever you think you can do, your gifts, your abilities, put them at the foot of the cross. Put them there. He calls us to a life of love and service, to feed his sheep. There's a world out there that needs to be fed, and he has invited us to be part of restoring his creation. at the foot of the cross. So, we'll take a few moments, search your hearts and your prayers that I've asked Vern and Mark to come help me serve communion.